Hey guys, welcome back to my video. This is Serial Gaming here, and today we're going to talk about the last LD that will be featured in this banner before Shinyu's era. Anyway, before we begin, again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe it if you enjoy my content, and of course leave a like and a comment down below to let me know what you guys think about it. And of course, if you would like to further support my channel, you can click the join button to join up my membership to enjoy further additional perks and benefits. Alright guys, so without further ado, we'll be starting off with Shrek. Shrek is my favorite, ugliest motherfucker, creature, or character in the game itself. Because, my god, his skill 1 is throwing farts out. And skill 2 is shitting on all of your team composition. Anyway, jokes aside, we'll be starting off with Jegran or Jegran, depends on how you're going to call it. Anyway, his skill 1 now does a 3 single target HP attack, skill 2 being a 2 split AoE HP attack, so basically more damage. His LD does a huge amount of 7 single target HP attack, and is a ignore defense attack with 50% splash. And it also comes with an upgrade on his follow-up attack, and for those who never used Jegran before, like me, so the follow-up actually occurs right before Jegran's own turn if the enemy has 3 stacks of his debuff. So the follow-up now does a 3 split AoE HP attack, and of course it's a rainbow damage, which means it's ignore defense and it's gonna cap no matter how high or how low your brave damage is. Jegran also get his Crystal Level 90 upgrade, with his EX now being a 3 single target HP attack with 50% splash. And his additional ability, which extend up to 4 turns now, is a single target HP attack with 50% self attack up and 30% self brave damage cap up. Alright, so Jegran in this situation for me he's just a very strong damage dealer. He's powerful because he ignores defense, but he requires extensive investment for you to capitalize his follow-up attack, because the best kit from him is in the case where his crystallization doesn't go down, because his BT effect allows that. Basically, how Jegran works is that all of his skill applies a certain amount of stacks on his crystallization debuff, and when the stacks hits up to 3 stacks, Jegran will perform his follow-up attack, but right before his turn instead of right after his attack. So after performing that follow-up attack, it will reset the stack back to 0. Actually, it will completely remove the debuff instead. And by doing so, he has to restack up his kit, the debuff, to actually perform that follow-up attack again. So his BT effect actually allows that crystallization debuff to maintain and stay at 3 stacks. That actually helps boost Jegran's overall damage capability. So it doesn't make sense to not pull for his BT if you're gonna use him. Like I said, he still has a very good damage dealer if you have his overall kit. Then again, it will require you to fully invest on the character itself. I personally don't have Jegran, and I'm not gonna fully invest him on my resources, so yep, it's a huge skip for me, just like when his LD first appeared. Nonetheless, if you're running Jegrans in the party, and if you don't have his BT, then I recommend going for units like Ram to give him more turns so that he can stack up his crystallization debuff way better. Also, do understand that his debuff actually stays in the form of a hidden debuff, where it only appears within the bosses and not on top of the status bar where you normally see debuff at. So that is something to note for. It may or may not be a good thing. One thing good about it is it can never be removed by any by any other means aside from Jegran following up his attack. But then again, it might be a little bit harder to see how much stacks it is, since it blinks in and blinks out for the debuff effect. Anyway, regardless, we'll be moving forward with the next and the last LD, which is King. Alright, so King basically get a small rework. I wouldn't say it's a huge ton of rework, which is really sad, really, because he's haven't been relevant for a while, and to be the last LD, you would expect some kind of climatic ending to this entire Lufenia era. But it is actually the opposite. It's sort of anti-climatic. But anyway, his skill 1 does a 3 single target HP attack with 50% splash, and that's about it. His skill 2 reset the target break status and perform 2 single target HP attack with 50% splash. So the idea behind the reset target break status is that he will gain another turn instantly since his EX buff allows that. Of course, if you use it during the granted free turn when he breaks an enemy, then it won't grant him another free turn. But the idea behind this changes is for him to use the skill 2 as a form of resetting his skill, and then you can perform another action immediately. Anyway, his EX now does a 4 single target HP attack with 50% splash, followed up by a 3 single target HP attack with another 50% splash, and extend his EX buff now up to 8 turns. His additional ability now extend up to 6 turns. It's self battery and provides a 40% self attack up, 30% brave damage cap up. And of course, with King constantly being able to get more turns with his high turn rate skill and his capability of resetting his entire skill count, his additional ability is going to be the skill that you will spam a lot as well. His LD is a 4 split AoE HP attack and provides him a new LD buff for 6 turns. It provides him a 40% self attack up, 20% solar overflow and HP damage up, 50% brave damage up, so basically just a whole bunch of self-sustained auras, and provides him lastly a new attack which converts his HP attack to double bullet when there is at least 2 users of his skill 1. The reason behind the need to have at least 2 users is because double bullet actually consumes 2 users of his skill 1, because it makes sense really, because if you create a new skill without having him to consume one of the skill count that he has, there makes no reason for him to actually use skill 2. Anyway, the double bullet attack is a 3 single target HP attack with 50% splash, followed up by another 3 single target HP attack with 50% splash, and then grants himself 5 turns of 30% attack up and 40% max bravery up. It's not framed for this buff, but nonetheless it's not really that huge either. It's a high turn rate skill as well. So I guess King, it works a little bit similar to a non-BT Lightning right now, because they both break and grant free skill from there, free turns, and then both of them have high turn rate skill, and both have really high longevity right now with all the reset skill and everything, although King does sacrifice his longevity for more damage per turn. I do argue one thing though, King always has an issue where he uses a lot of turn to perform such minimal effort of HP attack. So that itself never changed even with this LD upgrade and rework and everything. King still requires an extensive amount of turns despite being high turn rate. He would consume a lot of turns to perform what others would actually use less turn to perform the damage, the same amount of damage. So that itself, in my opinion, makes King a less desirable unit. And honestly, if you release King's LD roughly around 2 months earlier, it won't make a huge significant impact. So you can understand why I think King just doesn't work really well in this late release of his LD. He does, like I said, still have good longevity, but the fact that he only has 6 single target HP attack in his strongest non-EX attack is just really sad, and it just doesn't justify him enough for you to put him in the party itself. He has high turn rate, great, but consume turns and doesn't perform as much in one single turn, then that's just sad. So King, I think a lot of people still like King as a character, especially since he was quite likable in the original game, but for him to get this ridiculous capability of an LD attack is just sad, really. For not even full AoE HP attack. What is the developer even thinking when giving him this kit? I was wishing they would at least give him more, consecutive turns so that he can spam his skill 1 consecutively and have at least more reason for you to refresh his skill after using all of his skill instead of just refreshing to get more turns. right now there's really not much reason for you to wait until King is fully depleted from all of his skill and use his skill 2 from there to reset all of it. You might even just want to use his skill 2 to let him have turn, so yeah, it'd be more turn efficient for him to perform the amount of damage. But regardless, my plan might be pulling some tickets for this banner because I capped my ticket and I haven't even claimed the tickets from size event. So I definitely think I would throw a little bit here and just see my luck. Maybe I can get the King of Luck here. Anyway guys, that is my opinion. The banner itself is not as attractive as the one that we had previously prior to this banner, because these two characters really are just, they need a lot of investment to make them worthwhile, and by putting this lot of resources in it, it might be better for you to just wait for the next banner, which is Kane, where you can just put all your resources there, or even any other characters prior to this banner might be actually more suitable for you to place your resources there instead. So unless you are just you want to have a new character, or you just want to have fun with this, or this character are your favorites, I definitely won't recommend pulling for this banner. Anyway guys, thank you again for watching, and I hope it does help a little bit on your insight before you enter the Force era. So take care of your resources, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.